Will Lost Ark kill Black Desert? That was something that was in the mind of a lot of EU and NA BDO players a few months ago, as the release of the MMORPG developed by Smilegate and published by Amazon was making its way for its Western release. It has now been more than a month since Lost Ark came out, and I feel like we can somewhat answer this question by comparing the two games and analyzing the data that we have on our hands. I remember the BDO community being quite dismissive of Lost Ark at first, because in their eyes it was just not the same game as BDO, therefore it wasn't part of the competition, mostly because of the top-down view and the combat resembling more Diablo or a MOBA than an action combat like BDO, or maybe because every other MMO that came out in the past few years was just a massive failure, where players would maybe stop playing BDO for a few weeks, but promptly come back. And in a broader sense, I actually agree with this point. The two games are incredibly different. They look different and play different. But what I came to realize after playing Lost Ark for a month is that even though the two Korean MMOs maybe only share the same genre, what they also share is the fulfillment that an MMORPG player is looking for when they start their adventure in a new and unexplored world. I don't think I have to go in great depths to describe this feeling to you, because if you're watching this video, I'm sure that you know what I'm talking about the sense of wonder when you enter a virtual world full of mysteries and adventures, about the sense of belonging that you can only find in MMORPGs, where you can carve your name and be part of the history of the game. This is by far the genre that allows us the biggest form of escapism in the gaming world. I think the difference in the combat system, the graphics, the content, it's almost secondary to the feeling of finding a home in the game. And that's where I think Lost Ark is actually having a massive impact in the player base and future of BDO. First of all, let me start by saying that I love both games and I want to see both succeed. The first thing you can do is analyzing the actual data that we have, which is sadly not much, but I think it does help to paint a picture of what's going on. I know Steam doesn't have the full numbers for BDO, as a lot of players, maybe even the majority, plays through the dedicated client. But these Steam numbers do show a very clear decline in player base since February, the month where Lost Ark came out. Black Desert's Steam player base went down by 20% in 1 month, one of the biggest decline we've ever seen so far. And the total player base decline might be even worse, and I'll get to why later. The average online player number is actually the lowest it has ever been since 2020, and while I do think the main reason for this is the release of Lost Ark, I think there is more to it. I think what's causing this massive exodus is a series of broken promises from Pearl Abyss and a general feeling of disappointment that prevails in the veteran community of the game. It all started with the Heedun Bowl of 2021, where at the start of the year, PA promised a lot. And for the first time ever, they even gave us release dates, giving a lot of hope to the community that we truly were about to witness a time of change for the game. This is what they said and promised was all gonna release within 6 months. Please remember this detail as it is a crucial part of this issue. Mini servers. They didn't give a specific date for this one, they did mention it briefly here and there, but has yet to come out and we still know very little about it. Dimension, which was supposed to release on the 15th of July, ended up releasing with months of delay, and it was dead on arrival. It's honestly pathetic and lazy. It's 2 large empty rooms with no other floors, no relevant content tied to it, nothing. I can't believe there was months of delay for this. They said all 4 dungeons were gonna release throughout 2021. We're almost 4 months deep in 2022, and we only have 2. Yar was supposed to come out the 12th of August. Instead, it came out towards the end of the year, and it was also dead on arrival content, because while the minigame is actually pretty fun, it has literally 0 rewards, matchmaking or ranking, so the players just don't give a shit. 2 new RBF maps were supposed to come out, one on August 19 and the other one towards the end of the year. We got the Valencia map with some months of delay, and it has been actually fairly successful, but we still have no sign of the second map. August 26th, new hardcore grind spot in Sikraya, mentioned once at the ball and that's it, never heard of that ever again. Ranked arenas, as I said, this was supposed to come out within 6 months. 1 year later and we still don't have it. September 10th, Tier 10 Unicorn. We're in April, and somehow EU still doesn't have it. October was gonna be the release of Calphion Elvia, new cutscenes and a new story quest, still not in the game. Of course, the big class reboot, which came with months of delay, completely killed some classes and only saw one half-assed balance patch after its release. I really didn't want to believe this, but once again, PA did some massive change to the PvP balance and left it there to rot. To me, this is absolutely crazy to even think about. All this content was planned and announced with release dates, and almost none of it came out. And the one that made it through, it's dead on arrival and obviously really lazily and poorly executed. Ironically, during the build, Jay said that he moved the lifespan of BDO 10 years further because he saw a massive increase in popularity into the game. That must have been some monkey paw shit, because since he said that, the game is going downhill at an incredibly worrying pace. I used to be very positive about the future of BDO, but now I feel so disappointed and betrayed by Pearl Abyss that I genuinely don't care about the game anymore. I don't want to care, because every time I do, I realize that it's a one-way relationship with them. I only see two scenarios here. They're either incredibly incompetent, or they don't give a shit about their most passionate and dedicated players. And both options are said. I think the side of the game that was hit the hardest was the veterans and the dedicated players, who after years of playing felt alienated by the lack of communication and interest from Pearl Abyss. I want to briefly mention that my interaction with the people over at Pearl Abyss has been phenomenal. They're all hardworking and care deeply about the game and its community. Sadly, it doesn't seem like they have a big impact in the ultimate decisions that are made by the higher-ups. Lost Ark is wildly successful in Korea. It was actually the 5th most played game in PC banks as of December 2021, which is crazy for an MMORPG. As a longtime BDO fan, this is really painful to watch, and I think this neglect, which is tragically timed by a long streak of broken promises and disappointment, is what is causing Black Desert to die at a much faster pace than we anticipated. I don't want to end the video on such a sad note, so I will give my opinions on what could turn this around. First things first, stop with these half-assed PvP balance changes. You held massive tournaments to select the best of the best at the game. You asked their opinions, and then you trashed that opinion in the bin. Why? You know how and where to find the right voices, so please listen to them, and don't let the PvP balance completely unchecked for months and months, just to then shuffle it by killing what's broken and overbuffing something else. Second of all, remove CC resist in PvP. It's a pathetic mechanic, and the game will be just better without it. If some classes currently rely on CC resists to be viable, then that's a flaw in the design of the class. Fix the class instead of keeping a broken system in place. Last thing, create meaningful PvE content. The second dungeon was a step in the right direction. Use that as an example and develop through it. We're sick of grinding in circles for hundreds of hours with no purpose. I really want to stress that I want BDO to succeed, and this is why I am so critical and passionate about this. I don't want to see the game that I love die. Much love to all the people watching this video, especially to the Pearl Abyss devs. If you're watching this, please know that I am rooting for you. Thanks for watching, kisses.